Okay, good morning. Our next topic is all about the itinerary. So, this is just a review. We've had this lesson before, so it should be easy this time. So, first, let us define what is a tour program or itinerary. So, again, it is a written travel schedule made by the travel agency for their client or tourist. The tour program must contain the following information. By the way, your itinerary should base on your travel package. So again, what contains tour itinerary? So basically, it's just the same with the definition of tourism. So you have the what, which refers to the title of the program, the who, which refers to the tourist, where are they going and staying, and then when are they arriving and departing, and the schedule of the tour. So later I will show you how to make an itinerary. Okay, so how do we arrange the itinerary? Again, there are basic rules. Number one, avoid backtracking. So I believe you are already familiar with that. Again, dapat dili sila magbalik-balik sa agi. And then number two, avoid crisscrossing. Number three, make the logical flow of the story. And then number four is theme. Ako i-explain later on the next slide ang logical flow of the story. And then ang theme, what I mean is that, let's say for example, during the arrival, let's say niabot ang tourist at 10 in the morning, so they still have time to wander around, and then ang check-in sa ilang hotel is still at 2 p.m. So probably you can go city tour. So if we say city tour, laag sa city, pwede mo visit og mga museum or mga parks. And then let's say for example the next day, ang inyong theme kay waterfalls. So dapat as much as possible you would be visiting waterfalls only, or something or somewhere, some destinations that involves water. Dili kay kung madto mo for example adto mo sa waterfall, so nangaligo mo niya, after ligo kay adto mo sa simbahan, mo visit mo simbahan, it doesn't make sense. Okay, for example, basa mo, then you don't have the proper attire to visit the church. So kanang theme is also needed, or a factor to be considered when making the itinerary. So I hope we're clear with that. And then so here, this is what makes the logical flow of the story. So basically, these are elements to be considered when planning a tour. So number one is time and distance. Under time and distance, you consider the time to move within the attraction, of course, because time is actually essential in the tour. So you have to calculate every time, or you have to calculate the time consumed when moving from this attraction to this attraction, because it could be that you list attractions in your itinerary but you lack time, kulang sa oras, sobra sa isa ka adlaw. So mo na siya, dapat i-consider ang time to move within the attraction, dayon time to move from one attraction to the next. The same thing. And let's say for example, nilakaw mo sa kaning tourist spot around 11 a.m. Dayon, it takes 2 hours to get to the next destination or tourist spot. So 2 hours from 11 a.m. to 12 noon, and then you should be arriving there by 1 p.m. So, asa man dapat ang problema there? Unsay naka problema ana nga scene or scenario. So, it's lunchtime. So, while traveling pwede gutumon imong mga tourist. So, I think it would be better if so from this destination you have to stop in a restaurant and eat, and then after eating, that's the time that you can already go to another destination as well. Now, ikatulo, time of start and end of tour. So, let's say for example, you will be starting, or the pick up time is 7 a.m. and then the returning time would be 6 p.m. on the hotel. So those are those are at least 11 hours of day tour. So again, you make sure that your itinerary for that day or the destinations can be covered in that day. So I hope we're clear with that. Number 2 is the flow of the story. So number 1, interpretation. Same thing. This is something to do with, let's say, if you are keen on history, so unsa may imuhang, where do you start? So probably you can start with museums, and then you go to churches, and then you go to market, and then number 2 is keeping the guest interest and attention. This time, i-consider sa nimo ang profile sa imong mga customer, or client or tourist. Let's say for example, ang mga tiguang imong tourist, so unsa man, what are those things that can ignite the interest and attention of those kind of tourists, nga mga baby boomers. So probably they like history because they had a lot of time before. They spent their time with their youth, so probably they can go to museum or they can go to churches. You don't let them hike or baktas nga grabe kay they are already tiguang. Okay, so I hope we're clear. Okay, there it is, number 3. Number 3 is all about the profile of your guests, just like what I've said earlier. So it's interconnected. So know your tour group. So most of the time, let's say Korean tourist, what they're keen on visiting the Philippines is our beaches. So you bring them to your beaches. If, let's say for example, another type of or profile of the guest, if they are young people, so bring them to much more adventurous places. Okay, and then number 4, the weather. So know the weather on your tour day. Weather is important when conducting a tour because, of course, that can really affect our safety. For example, if an upcoming typhoon is coming over in your area, of course you know that there has been a forecast but nagpadayon gihapon ka, so it should be risky, especially if you're doing island hopping. So you don't risk the safety of the tourists. So know the weather ahead. There are a lot of applications that you can use for you to know about the weather. Okay, and then number 5 is the cost. So of course, tourism is a business. So make sure that what the tourists are paying for you, make them or will be satisfied with your itinerary. At the same time, you will be having your revenue. Di man pwede nga kanang dako kay sila gibayaran niya, gamay ra imo atuan. No, that's not how you keep your business. Sayop na siya. So dapat there is satisfaction on the customer's end.